On the morning of September 7th, 2012, an emergency call came into the Chapel Hill Police Department from an apartment complex near the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill.
Dial 911, where is your emergency?
I just walked into my apartment and my friend is he's unconscious. He's unconscious. I just walked in the apartment and there looks like there's blood everywhere.
Okay, listen to, when you touched her, how did she feel? Does she feel warm?
No, she feels cold.
She feels cold? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Don't touch anything else, okay?
The caller reported finding her friend unconscious, surrounded by blood. When officers entered apartment 1502 at Hawthorne at the View, they were met with a horrifying scene. 19-year-old Faith Danielle Hedgepeth lay dead on the bedroom floor, her life violently taken inside what should have been the safety of her own home. Chapel Hill is a small college town known for its academic prestige and sense of security. Violent crime is rare and murders are almost unheard of. That sense of safety vanished the moment Faith's death was discovered. The killing would become one of the most disturbing and perplexing unsolved cases in North Carolina history. Faith Hedgepeth was born on September 26, 1992, in Warren County, North Carolina. She was a proud member of the Halliwa-Saponi Native American tribe and carried her cultural identity with deep respect. Faith was raised primarily by her mother, Connie Hedgepeth, and her older sister after her parents divorced when she was still an infant. She shared close bonds with her siblings, 2 brothers, Caleb and Chad, and her sister Rolanda, and was described by family and friends as loving, empathetic, and full of life. Her father, Roland Hedgepeth, often said Faith was the light of his life. He later revealed that her birth came during a dark period when he was struggling with addiction. Faith, he believed, was a gift from God and the reason he survived. She grew into a bright, determined young woman who excelled academically and dreamed of building a future that would honor her family. Faith earned a Gates Millennium Scholarship and enrolled at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, initially majoring in biology. She hoped to become either a pediatrician or a teacher and aspired to be the first person in her family to graduate from college. University life, however, was not without struggle. The academic workload proved difficult at first, and Faith fell behind in some courses. Rather than giving up, she took on 2 jobs to support herself, changed her major, and committed herself fully to finishing her degree. She lived off campus at Hawthorne at the View, a popular student apartment complex. Her roommate was Karina Rosario, a close friend she had lived with since her first year of college. To many, the two were inseparable, sharing not just an apartment but a deep bond of trust and companionship. For a time, Karina's boyfriend, Eric Takoya Jones, also lived in the apartment. Their relationship was volatile and marked by conflict. After they broke up, Eric moved out, but his behavior reportedly became alarming. Despite Karina changing the locks, he allegedly attempted to break into the apartment on 2 occasions. Faith supported her friend and even drove Karina to court to obtain a protective order against Eric, legally barring him from approaching the apartment. Though he was gone, Eric remained close by, having moved into another unit within the same complex. On Thursday, September 6, 2012, Faith's day began normally. She attended her classes and later went to an Alpha Pi Omega event, a Native American sorority gathering she hoped would one day lead to her membership. She left the event around 7:15 p.m. to work on a history paper about her tribe. At 8 p.m., Faith and Karina went to the campus library to study. Faith briefly stepped away but returned by 11:30 p.m., after which the two walked back to their apartment shortly after midnight. Around 12:30 a.m., they decided to go out for the night. Faith and Karina drove to a nightclub called The Thrill. Arriving at approximately 12:40 a.m., the club was popular with students and known for allowing people under 21 to enter. Surveillance footage later captured the pair dancing inside. They stayed for about 90 minutes before Karina began to feel sick and wanted to leave. At 2:07 a.m., security cameras recorded them exiting the club. Faith drove them back to their apartment. According to Karina, she felt ill due to drinking too much alcohol. Not long after they returned home, a neighbor living below their apartment reported hearing loud banging noises just before 3 a.m. The sounds were described as heavy thumps, as though furniture was being moved or a heavy object was repeatedly hitting the floor. At 3:30 a.m., Faith's Facebook account showed signs of activity. 10 minutes later, at 3:40 a.m., a text message was sent from Faith's phone to Brandon Edwards, an ex-boyfriend of Karina. The message asked him to come over, saying that Karina needed him. A second message followed shortly after, containing only the word van, which investigators believe was an autocorrect error. Brandon replied the next day asking who had sent the messages, but no response ever came. Phone records later revealed that Karina had also been attempting to contact Brandon around the same time. At 3:52 a.m., another text was sent from Faith's phone, this time to her on-and-off boyfriend Ty Michael McNeil. The message expressed love and appeared emotional and intimate. This would be the last confirmed activity from Faith's phone. At approximately 4:25 a.m., Karina Rosario was picked up by a friend, UNC soccer player Jordan McCrary. She left the apartment, later stating that she believed Faith was asleep in her bed and that she left the front door unlocked. Karina went to Jordan's apartment and stayed there for the remainder of the night. Faith Hedgepeth was left alone in apartment 1502. By the time morning came, she was already gone. When morning arrived on September 7, 2012, nothing appeared immediately out of place at Hawthorne at the View. Faith Hedgepeth's car was still parked outside the apartment building, giving the impression that she had simply overslept and missed her classes. At around 10:30 a.m., Karina Rosario attempted to call Faith, hoping to get a ride home. When Faith did not answer, Karina contacted a friend, Marisol Rangel. The two returned to apartment 1502 just before 11 a.m. They entered the apartment and called out Faith's name. There was no response. When they walked into the bedroom, they were confronted with a sight that would haunt everyone involved for years to come. Faith's partially nude body lay on the floor, leaning against her bed and covered by a duvet. Her t-shirt had been pulled up over her face, and she was unclothed from the waist down. Blood covered the walls, floor, and furniture. Near her body, investigators would later find a used tampon. Karina Rosario placed the 911 call at 11:01 a.m.
Dial 911, where is your emergency?
I just walked into my apartment and my friend is just she's unconscious.
Okay, what's your address, ma'am?
I live at Hawthorne at the View.
You say your friend is unconscious?
She's unconscious. I just walked in the apartment and there looks like there's blood everywhere.
Okay, listen to me. Okay, how old is she?
She's 19.
Listen to me. Is she breathing?
I don't know.
You need to check and see. Is she breathing?
I don't think so.
Okay, listen to me.
There's blood everywhere. She's on her back, but I think she fell off the bed because she's off the bed. There's blood all over the pillows, in the comforter. I just don't know what happened.
Touch her arm. Tell me, how does she feel?
She's not moving.
Okay, ma'am, we need to find out if we can help her or not. Okay, kneel next to her and look in her mouth for food or vomit. Tell me something. Listen to me. What is your name?
Karina.
Listen to me. When you touched her, how does she feel?
She feels cold.
She feels cold? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Don't touch anything else. Okay? Okay. What room is she in?
She's in my bedroom.
Listen to
in my room that was not here before.
Okay,
it looks
listen
like
to
someone
me.
that came in here.
Okay.
It really does.
Okay. Tell me again what your name is.
It looks like someone had been in there because she's not the cell. I don't know what.
Okay. Now tell me again what your name is.
What?
What is your name?
Karina Rosario.
Karina? Okay, Karina. How old are you, Karina?
I'm 20.
You're 20? Okay, hon.
Her voice was frantic, confused, and disoriented. She told the dispatcher that her friend was unconscious and surrounded by blood, suggesting that Faith may have fallen out of bed. As the dispatcher attempted to guide her through checking for signs of life, Karina reported that Faith felt cold and was not moving. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but it was already clear that Faith Hedgepeth was dead. Police immediately secured the apartment as a crime scene. What troubled investigators from the start was the absence of forced entry. The door had not been broken, and nothing suggested a random intruder. Whoever had entered the apartment had likely been let in, or already had access. The bedroom showed signs of a violent struggle. Blood spatter analysis indicated repeated blunt force impacts. Later examination revealed that Faith had been struck multiple times in the head with a heavy object. A Bacardi rum bottle recovered at the scene was believed to be the possible murder weapon. Tissue fragments and DNA were found on the bottle, strengthening that theory. An autopsy confirmed that Faith died from blunt force trauma to the head. Her face and body were covered in cuts and bruises, and blood beneath her fingernails suggested she fought desperately against her attacker. Semen was discovered on her body, though medical examiners could not conclusively determine whether the sexual contact had been consensual or the result of assault. Faith's family firmly believed she had been raped, and Chapel Hill police stated that it was more likely than not that a sexual assault had occurred. Perhaps the most disturbing detail was a handwritten note found near Faith's body, written across a fast food bag. It read, "I'm not stupid bitch jealous." Despite the extensive blood at the scene, the note itself was clean. Investigators believe the killer had washed their hands after the murder and remained in the apartment long enough to write and place the note. A handwriting analyst later concluded that the writing appeared intentionally disguised, suggesting the author was attempting to conceal their identity. Faith's death sent shockwaves through the UNC campus and the surrounding community. Vigils were held, including a Native American ceremony honoring her life. Students were gripped by fear, questioning how such a brutal crime could occur in a place they believed to be safe. The investigation that followed became one of the largest homicide cases in North Carolina history. Initially, much of the evidence was sealed by court order, including the autopsy report and details of the crime scene. Even Faith's family was kept in the dark for nearly 2 years, unable to access key information about how their daughter had died. In December 2012, the FBI joined the investigation, developing a behavioral profile of the killer. They believed the murderer knew Faith personally and may have lived close to her at one point. The profile suggested the killer could be someone who showed unusual interest in the case, possibly discussing it frequently or exhibiting behavioral changes after the crime. As details slowly emerged, investigators focused on individuals within Faith's inner circle. Eric Takoya Jones, Karina Rosario's ex-boyfriend, became a primary person of interest early on. He reportedly resented Faith for encouraging Karina to end their relationship and for helping her obtain a protective order. During the investigation, police discovered text messages Eric had sent shortly before the murder, asking friends to forgive him for what he was about to do. Days after Faith's death, he posted cryptic messages on social media asking God for forgiveness. Despite these alarming details, Eric cooperated with police. His apartment and vehicle were searched, and his DNA was tested. Ultimately, his DNA did not match the samples found at the crime scene, and he was not arrested. Still, investigators stated publicly that while he was ruled out as the source of the DNA, he remained a person of interest who might know more than he had disclosed. Attention also turned toward Karina Rosario. Questions arose regarding her actions on the night of the murder and during the 911 call. Observers noted that she never mentioned Faith by name during the call and did not mention that Marisol was present. Some found it troubling that Karina left the apartment hours after returning from the club, leaving the door unlocked. A witness later recalled seeing a red speck on Karina's clothing when she arrived at another apartment that morning. Police confirmed they tested the clothing but stated the results did not indicate her involvement in the crime. Faith's on-again, off-again boyfriend Ty Michael McNeil was also scrutinized. Friends described their relationship as turbulent, with allegations of controlling and abusive behavior. Faith had reportedly confided in friends that Ty had pushed or hit her in the past. The emotional text sent from Faith's phone at 3:52 a.m. struck many as out of character, given what was known about the state of their relationship. Ty provided an alibi and submitted a DNA sample, but it remains unclear whether he was ever formally cleared. Another piece of evidence continued to haunt the case: a voicemail left on Faith's friend Una Chavez's phone. The recording was muffled and difficult to interpret. Some believed it captured the sounds of an argument or struggle, while others thought it was simply background noise from a nightclub. Forensic audio experts disagreed about the timestamp, arguing that technical issues could have caused inaccuracies. Police ultimately concluded the voicemail did not capture the murder. Years passed with no arrest. In 2016, investigators released a forensic composite sketch created using DNA phenotyping. The image predicted physical traits such as eye color, skin tone, and ancestry. The suspect was believed to be of mixed Native American and European or Latino descent. While the sketch renewed public interest, it did not lead to a breakthrough. By 2018, more than 2,000 people had been interviewed and hundreds of DNA samples compared. None matched the DNA found at the scene. Investigators publicly stated that they did not believe the crime was random. They remained convinced that Faith's killer was someone she knew, someone who felt comfortable enough in the apartment to stay, clean up, and leave behind a message. To this day, no one has been charged. Faith Hedgepeth's family continues to live with unimaginable loss. Her parents have spoken openly about the pain of losing a daughter whose life was filled with promise. In Faith's memory, the Faith Hedgepeth Memorial Scholarship, also known as the Faith Smile Scholarship, was created to support Native American women entering college, ensuring that Faith's dream of education lives on through others. The murder of Faith Hedgepeth remains an open and active case. A reward of $40,000 is still offered for information leading to the arrest of those responsible. Police urge anyone with knowledge, no matter how small, to come forward. Faith's story is more than an unsolved crime. It is a reminder that danger can exist even in places we trust most, that justice can be delayed but must never be abandoned, and that behind every case file is a life that mattered. Faith Hedgepeth was not just a victim. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, and a young woman whose future was stolen far too soon.